Hey film friends, I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman On Film. Welcome to the channel. Let me start today by taking a little straw poll. Anybody out there love their mommies? No, really. Is she your hero? Your paragon of nurturing? Well, take it from this unabashed mama's boy. I've got a story for you. See, DreamWorks got sick of all that Pixar hype and stepped up to the plate in a big way. It's a visually dazzling wonder that tugs at our hearts even as it thrills our eyes. This is Chris Sanders, the Wild Robot.
I see trees of green.
So, The Wild Robot is actually based on a 3-book series for elementary age kids. I know what you're thinking. Yep, sequels are coming. But this book gets scooped up by Chris Sanders, who is an extremely erudite longtime animator at Disney. This is the guy behind Lilo and Stitch, The Croods, but more importantly, he was drawing in the heyday of the Disney Renaissance for movies like Aladdin and The Lion King. To me, this is significant for 2 reasons. 1, this dude knows how to tell simple, extremely effectively moving stories. And 2, he was an animator before all this CG took over. This will come up again. But thematically, look, this one has messages on belonging and personal identity while coming of age and the power of acceptance. In fact, this film has every single life lesson I've ever wanted to teach my kids and all the youth with which I came into contact. Soul-stirring truths about the warmth of friendship, the primal force of loyalty, the power of found family, the efficacy of work, the revolutionary animus of growth mindset. We are more than our programming. And of course, for a man whose mother is his true hero, the elemental protective connection and inspiration of a mother for her young. But even with all that, maybe what we learn most of all is that kindness is a survival skill. And what could be better in a world like the one in which we now find ourselves? But look, there are so many things to recommend about The Wild Robot. I simply found this film to be beautiful, both in terms of its humanity, which could be kind of ironic given that there's not a single human being in this film, and in terms of its animation style. The story completely bowled me over. See, you've got this small tale of found family between 3 very different creatures, and then a larger community of interesting characters learning to come together for a purpose. Tonally, this just all worked for me. Pixar has mastered the ability to craft that profound moment. You know, the one where the more observant and cynical among us feel them practically shaking us and saying, "Here's the moment when you will cry." But The Wild Robot isn't like that. It's cumulative. It's building emotion, and most emphatically, it's earned. So instead of touching moments dropping like raindrops on our heads, it was more like an oceanic wave of powerful feeling just washing over me. It's also funny too. There are so many great adult jokes about parenting, the crushing obligation of it, how hard it can be. But beyond the saccharine and the comic, look, this is just phenomenally made. I listened to Sanders talk about the work himself. His team was able to sort of hand paint and draw certain aspects of the forest and the animals. So you get this real marriage of hand drawing and CG that looks so much realer than the 3D style we've become accustomed to seeing. And the voice work may be even better still. Lupita Nyong'o, I just had no idea you could have this kind of range using only voice inflection. Pedro Pascal is also great, but there is a royal bevy of great character actors playing these winning forest animals. It's just top-notch stuff. Finally, some may deride the way this film turns in its 3rd act, but I actually adored the new directions which the film embraced. To me, this kept it from becoming the same old story that so many criticized it for being. Alright, so there are very few people who outright dislike this movie. If you're one of them, what's the matter with you? Do you have a soul? Goddamn, be strong. It's simply too damn good. But I've heard criticisms which I'll say basically come down to 3 main things. The story is simple, it's unoriginal and cliched, and the whole affair is just too treacly and sweet. So, if you're in this camp, you can point to tropes like a social outcast meeting a guru who guides them and takes them under their wing. Goose, wing, come on, it's funny. Then, that protege becoming the legendary hero. Yeah, sure, this isn't new. And if you're looking to be harsh, the other forest animals could be seen as mildly amusing, but, you know, nothing really new. Diversionary comic relief. And I'm sure someone will compare the groundbreaking story of the Iron Giant to this film, which has much more modest aims by comparison. Fine, I hear all of that. Do I buy it? Not really. I agree the film isn't particularly original. That's a fair criticism. But simple? Guys, Aesop was simple, been around for centuries. Jesus' parables were simple. The teachings of the Buddha, simple. Hell, when you get down to brass tacks, Hamlet is simple. Simple stories, beautifully well told, is the cornerstone of every literary tradition ever. So I find this one to be in great company. Lastly, as to this being too tear-jerky, I already said it. This one works hard for its tender reveals. It's not ham-fisted or paint by numbers. It pulls at our emotions in exactly the way real life and family and relationships do. That's the raw power of The Wild Robot. So, newsflash. Sentimental does not mean bad. Besides, the flashes of dark and biting humor here keep this from ever just becoming a weepy time at the movies. So, what do we conclude? Well, I lost count of the number of tears that left my eyes in the final 40 minutes of this one. This is the best animated film I've seen in a long, long time. I don't care one bit that its story is tried and true and that it unapologetically pulls at heartstrings like a harpist. The Wild Robot is a poignant portrait of parenthood. Its astonishing animation and score are only outpaced by how genuinely moving and grounded it is. A film that is gorgeous, funny, and chock full of real lessons for life. Kindness really is a survival skill.
I see trees of green.
Well, there you have it. The only thing left to discuss is our rating for this picture. FOF gives The Wild Robot 4.8 out of 5 stars. If you enjoyed this review, please let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Also, don't forget to visit FurmanOnFilm.com for even more movie content. And in case you missed it, we've got a podcast now. You can check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We just released an episode on Juror Number 2, Clint Eastwood's new courtroom drama. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Furman. This is Furman on Film. Stay firm, my friends.